Welcome. In the workshop on the REST API, we have the code and we build this template site. The first thing we do is getting posts through AJAX. So we have this effectively a single page application. We can load posts and that goes to this endpoint in the REST API. And we're outputting the ID and title. We can also load data from a MySQL table, a custom table, as we so wish here. And the course and workshop really focuses on these endpoints. If we take this element here and put it in here, what we actually get is the JSON REST API for WordPress with all the different routes. And what we do is we look at how we can edit, modify them and create new ones. So for example, on the course what we will do is we'll look at different types. For example, we can create this custom endpoint that just brings back a certain amount of data, ID, the title, excerpt, author name, advanced custom fields, which we can then display in any page. So for example, if we were to use a different endpoint, we would have access to that data and display it. We will look in the workshop at how we can display that information through the use of a simple HTML page. If we look it up here, when we go into developer tools, when we click on it, we will see what we get back, and I'll explain why we initially just get a readable stream, why we have to convert it so we get our posts. We can see all our posts here. We will look at this mechanism so that when we go back, for example, we can create our own endpoints and use a standard one in WordPress, for example, to search for this term JSON. If we take it something different and try PHP, we're getting it back, and what you can notice is we're not refreshing the page at all. It's all being done on the client side, so the round trip is not for the full page but just for the element we need. We will look at how we can post information while we're doing a title and content for this course into the posts. So let's do a little test here and enter the data. What we're doing, we're just doing some server validation that it must be 5 characters in each field. If we don't do that, we can get back a custom response that we can handle, and this is just debug information. But if we do put in the right amount, even without client-side validation, we can get back our own custom message that it's saying it's successful, that a method has been posted, and the content that we posted, and any extra information we may have sent ahead. So if we go to home now, we will see that that new post has been added. However, for security, we need to know that it came from our WordPress site. So what we've got to do is send some sort of token that WordPress server can know that it actually came from a page in the WordPress ecosystem. And this brings us to the WordPress-Nonce. And I will go through and explain how that's formed and how it's wired in. But as an example of a post that uses a nonce, we have this additional one, and we're just going to type in Nonce Test, testing with a nonce. When we do that, we get back the same form, it's been entered, successful, but notice we have a form nonce that gets sent with the page, and the server knows that therefore that page came from its ecosystem. We can go back and have a look at that post being successfully entered. There it is. So what we really do in this WordPress REST API is we look at what the REST API is, how we can create different endpoints, custom endpoints, add them, add advanced custom fields to them as well. And that when we get data back, for example, when we come here and we go here and we get data, we'll learn what we actually get back, how we can process it, and then display the information. And if we look here with the array 472, that basically has a title, Nonce Test, we can see Nonce Test just here. On the workshop we get all the code samples, so we get all the pages that we need to display in the site. We get the plugins, effectively all the custom routes. So if we click on one, we can see that what we will get commented out all the different routes that we've been using, so it creates a boilerplate. Any HTML files that we use as our sample testings, or any JavaScript files for testing that we may use are included. And when we have any test SQL tables, those are included too. So attendees can build a replica of what we're using locally, and when they go away after the workshop they will have access to this and also to a Word document that basically summarizes the course that we're loading up now. And if we have a look at that, it basically has a list of useful information and resources alongside the workshop that they can use. So this is the REST API workshop. Ideally about an hour and a half to 2 hours, so that we can really go through it and all the different details. We learn how to wire the nonce, use WP localized script if we need to, search facilities, posting, and with that attendees can develop a single page application or serverless renderless pages, and then can go on to use this technology to really build things like progressive web apps, or to export data to other sites or other users. So that's the WordPress REST API workshop that we can have to understand the REST API, to use it and to go forth in our development.